Next on ABC 7 at 6, the EPISD reassigns 4 more administrators who may be linked to the district's ever-widening cheating scandal. A suspect wanted in connection with a shooting this morning in Las Cruces is still on the loose tonight. An update on the investigation and the victim's condition. Also,
did members of the El Paso Firemen's and Policemen's Pension Board violate the Open Meetings Act? I'm Darren Hunt, and I'll tell you what the chairman of the board has to say about that.
Also, more debate today in the U.S. Supreme Court over same-sex marriage and a federal law that defines marriage as a union between a man and a woman. Dave.
We are certainly watching the weekend. The wind's going to pick up by early next week, even a chance for some rain. I'll talk more about it.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland, this is ABC 7 at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Estela Casas.
And I'm Rick Cabrera. 4 El Paso School District administrators placed on administrative leave.
And everyone at those schools is in shock. ABC 7's Ashley Rodriguez is live with more on this still developing story. Ashley.
Estela, 4 principals either didn't show up for school today or were escorted off of campus once they got there. A source close to the district tells us that teachers and students were taken by surprise when they found out their administrator could very well be fired, and this appears to all be connected to the cheating scandal. Now, we learned that the principals put on leave are John Tanner from Austin High, Randall Woods from Burgess High, Christine Ferret from El Paso High, and Luis Loya from the Center for Career and Technology Education. Some of these principals were informed as early as last night, but their staff and faculty weren't given any notice. It looks as though these 4 may be suspected of involvement with the cheating scandal under former Superintendent Lorenzo Garcia. The district hasn't confirmed anything, but isn't denying anything either. Interim Superintendent Vernon Butler did release a statement saying this is a difficult time for the district, but they must follow through on the consequences. Butler says Commissioner Williams stated that EPISD must act against employees who participated in the cheating. He and many of our elected officials also have criticized the district for not moving quickly enough. I want to assure you that the district is making the necessary changes to move forward. Listen to how El Paso High students are reacting to Christine Ferret's absence.
I think that's a lie. Yeah. She was a really nice person.
I don't think it's fair to the students. I think it's actually cheating on their education.
Apparently we can't trust anybody because the principal is pretty much who everyone looks up to. I mean, it also makes the teachers look bad.
We're going to be keeping an eye out for next week's school board agenda. The board has the power to decide the fate of these principals, and if they are going to be fired, their names are sure to come up in executive session. For ABC 7, Ashley Rodriguez, back to you.
Okay, Ashley, thank you. And also today, the principal at Lafayette Preparatory School resigned. This is according to the El Paso Times. The newspaper reports Priscilla Terraza stepped down amid public concerns of her alleged connection with a cheating scandal at EPISD.
A 2010 triple homicide in Mesilla may finally go to trial. Gino Ferry was arrested 3 years ago and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. ABC 7's Vanessa de la Vina is live from our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom. And Vanessa, new prosecutors are taking over the case.
That's right, Rick. We're talking about a murder case that many people have said was almost as horrible as the bowling alley massacre. And now new prosecutors are taking over the case because of a conflict of interest within the Doña Ana County District Attorney's Office. Now, DA spokeswoman Crystal Shaw says Chief Deputy Pedro Pineda was a defense attorney for Gino Ferry on a previous case, and another chief deputy has a personal relationship with the Ferry family. Now the Otero County District Attorney's Office is taking over the case. Their prosecutors will come in and fight the case here in Las Cruces. And Ferry is accused of shooting and killing 3 people who were suing him for more than $1 million. Shaw says transferring the case to another district is the best way for the victim's family to get justice.
Kate, the original prosecutor on this case, is in that judicial district now. So he's able to pick up this case right where he left it and see it through.
It's our obligation as the jurisdiction next door to protect the public as well in that area as it is in our area, because this is a crime that occurred in southern New Mexico.
The trial is scheduled to start this May, and now no word yet on whether the defense or the prosecution will file any motions for continuance. But stay with ABC 7 for all the latest updates on air and online at kvia.com. Live in Las Cruces from our New Mexico mobile newsroom, Vanessa de la Viña, C7.
All right, Vanessa, thank you very much. Also out of New Mexico, police are still searching for a man who shot a woman in North Las Cruces. Happened shortly before noon today at a house on Holly Drive. According to police, 34-year-old Cornelius Renteria was arguing with his 27-year-old ex-girlfriend. At some point, Renteria, also known as Corn, allegedly shot the woman at least twice in the chest and then ran off. The woman was taken to University Medical Center here in El Paso with non-life-threatening injuries. Again, police are still searching for Renteria. They say he is armed and dangerous. He's described as a bald Hispanic man, 6 feet 2 inches tall. He was last seen wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans.
A man accused of molesting a young girl after his girlfriend went to bed is now under arrest. Richard Morales is charged with 1 count of criminal penetration of a minor and violating the terms of his parole. Las Cruces police say it happened at some point between January of 2011 and last February. The victim is now reportedly 7 years old. Investigators say Morales was in a relationship with an older relative of the young girl. He's being held at the Doña Ana County Detention Center without bond. Storm track weather now. Doppler Dave's in the weather lab. He has our first forecast. Dave.
The temperatures today, pretty warm. We were above the average for this time of year. In fact, nearly 80 degrees. 79 was the official high temperature this afternoon. We started off at 49 this morning. Highs all across the region. Everybody into the 70s. Even not a bad day up in Ruidoso with temperature at 66 degrees. And we're going to continue to see some high and even mid-level clouds over the next several days. But we do have some changes coming early next week, which we'll talk about coming up.
All right, Dave. On Monday, ABC7 was the only media outlet to report that Robert Stanton, executive director of the Fire and Police Pension Fund, had rescinded his resignation.
However, since then, some have voiced concern about how it was handled after Stanton was scrutinized in a recent El Paso Times article.
ABC7's Darren Hunt joins us live from Central El Paso with that story. Darren.
Rick and Estella, if some members of the board discussed in advance that Stanton was going to rescind his resignation before a vote of confidence was taken in view of the public, that could be a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
I mean that he wanted to rescind his resignation.
That's Lieutenant Tyler Grossman, chairman of the El Paso Firemen and Policemen's Pension Fund Board, telling ABC7 at about 8:30 a.m. on Monday that the fund's embattled executive director, Robert Stanton, was withdrawing his resignation. Last Wednesday, after an El Paso Times article scrutinized some of Stanton's spending habits and past legal charges that were later dropped, he informed the board chairman he was resigning. At 7:30 on Monday morning, the board held a special meeting where a 7-3 vote was taken to give a vote of confidence for Stanton. And by 8:30, Grossman, the chairman of the board, was telling us on camera that Stanton had rescinded his resignation. The question is, when did Stanton inform Lieutenant Grossman that he was going to withdraw his resignation? Did that happen before Monday morning's board meeting in this room, or did it happen after Monday morning's board meeting? Did they know that he was going to rescind his resignation when that vote was taken?
Not when the vote was taken, no.
After failing to return phone calls and emails since Monday, I finally caught up with Grossman Wednesday afternoon at police headquarters. Can you tell us when Mr. Stanton rescinded his resignation?
As I said, it happened on Monday.
Okay. What time on Monday did that occur?
I'm not sure the exact time.
Did one have something to do with the other? Was the vote on giving a vote of confidence to him have to do with him rescinding the resignation?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Let me just cut to the chase. If there was some members of that board that knew that he was going to rescind his resignation if he got a vote of confidence, then that could be a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
I don't believe anybody knew before the meeting.
Now, Stanton has not returned to phone calls or emails all week. Now, the 3 members of the board, or the pension board, that voted against supporting him, all appointees of the mayor or the city manager, told me they still have yet to be informed formally that Stanton has been reinstated as executive director of the fund. Grossman said that will occur at the next board meeting. Rick?
All right, and of course, we'll stay on top of things. Thank you very much, Darren. Well, supporters for and against marriage equality gathered outside of the U.S. Supreme Court for the second day. Today, justices heard oral arguments challenging the Defense of Marriage Act. The 1996 law defines marriage as between a man and a woman. Justices today raised questions about a law which denies same-sex couples federal benefits that are available to opposite-sex couples. Law affects tax breaks, survivor benefits, and health insurance for spouses of federal employees. The session comes a day after the court heard arguments on California's Proposition 8, which bans same-sex marriage. A ruling on that case, and both cases in fact, is expected sometime in June.
A man accused of stealing weapons from local gun stores has entered his plea in court. The details next.
Also, possible changes in your child's classroom. Maria.
If some Texas lawmakers have their way, some core subjects would no longer be requirements to graduate from high school. I'm Maria Garcia. I'm going to bring you both sides of this argument coming up.
And we are certainly watching some changes by late in the weekend into early next week. Not only the wind, but some colder temperatures. It's coming up in weather.
This is ABC 7 at 6, where news comes first. And welcome back. If some Texas legislators have their way, your children would be required to take fewer core classes to graduate from high school.
Even Algebra 2 is on the chopping board. And new at 6, ABC 7's Maria Garcia has research in the outcome. She's here live.
And Rick and Estelle, this has already passed in the Texas House. Critics say that it'll lower the standards for students in high school, but supporters say it's a practical step for students who aren't going to college, so they can focus on vocation training during high school.
Is a crucial thing to know.
Even though this high school student believes that, he thinks that if Algebra 2 gets in the way of career training in high school, the subject should not be required.
You have more time to study something that you want to be in and graduate with that profession. You would have more time and more knowledge about what you're doing. So I think it would be better.
Not so, says this sophomore. She thinks no Algebra 2 requirements means lower standards and the state falling behind.
Even if they don't want to go to college and something like I said, it's still something that they should be able to know.
Let's face it, the large majority of us don't actually use Algebra 2 in our daily adult lives. But that's not the point for the people who believe it should still be a requirement. They believe that it's those critical problem-solving skills, the way that Algebra 2 teaches you how to think, that eventually makes you a more well-rounded, better prepared individual for whatever you decide to do in life.
It allows students to develop abstract thinking, reasoning with symbols, and algebra is actually a very, very powerful technique.
Dr. Kian Lim, an associate math professor at UTEP, says Algebra 2 can be essential to develop critical thinking if it's about understanding, not memorizing. He believes it should be a requirement if it's taught correctly.
If mathematics has no meaning other than just a bunch of formulas, then I don't think it's worth learning that.
The bill would also create two kinds of high school diplomas, a distinguished diploma for those who take Algebra 2 and other upper class courses, and a regular one for those who don't. Now, distinguished diplomas would automatically be accepted at any Texas State University. But Rick and Estella, critics say that this would be problematic for students who change their mind about college after high school. It has already passed in the State House, by the way, and it's going to the State Senate soon.
Thank you, Maria. We'll stay on top of things.
And it does happen. Kids always change their mind. Maria, thank you very much. Interesting. In New Mexico, a man accused of stealing weapons from several borderland gun stores has pleaded guilty to taking part in the thefts. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 21-year-old Emilio Sandoval of Santa Teresa entered his guilty plea yesterday. Sandoval was arrested in November and charged with transporting stolen firearms. The thefts from dealers in Las Cruces and El Paso happened over a 6-month period last year. Sandoval admitted his role in burglarizing 4 stores and stealing a total of 72 guns. He faces up to 10 years in prison. His sentencing has not been scheduled. Sandoval's co-defendant, Cisco Rene Gutierrez, is awaiting trial.
We're always working on news stories for you, including our brand new newscast on the El Paso Las Cruces CW, ABC 7 at 9. Stephanie?
Thanks, Rick. I'm Stephanie Valle, and tonight at 9, we're talking about protecting the Rio Grande. We'll talk about the precautions being taken to shield the river and the canals once those Asarco stacks come down. So be sure to watch the El Paso Las Cruces CW tonight for ABC 7 at 9.
We're also developing more stories for ABC 7 at 10. We told you yesterday about the growing concern over car batteries ending up in Mexico. Today, ABC 7's Matt Doherty headed to Juarez to see firsthand what's being done with those batteries. New at 10, a closer look at the possible environmental dangers.
Here at 6, we've got your accurate and reliable Storm Track weather forecast.
Dave is live with a look ahead. Dave?
Holiday weekend, of course, just around the corner. We'll talk about your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's next.
ABC 7 Storm Track WeatherNet is sponsored by Mattress Firm, Sealy.
It was a warm day today. In fact, you can look at your WeatherNet sites, and this time around we're focused on the west side of town. You can see the top numbers in white, your current temperatures. The bottom numbers are the highs and lows that we had today. Out at the War Eagles Air Museum in Santa Teresa, they made it up to 78 degrees. We had 76 at Dr. Green, nearly 80 up in Canutillo, and over at the El Paso Convention Center downtown. 79 was the high temperature. Well, we continue to deal with a lot of this high and mid-level moisture streaming in off the Pacific. You can see New Mexico, even Arizona, locked in with a lot of these high-level clouds. They'll be passing us by into tomorrow, but it's going to keep our temperatures a little bit warmer overnight. This blanket of cloud cover will keep some of the warm air down here at the surface. So we'll be looking at some 50s in here by tomorrow morning. Our current temperature is still not bad, still very warm. 78 in town, 73 out in Otero County, out in Luna County and Deming at 75 degrees. All right, here's a look at that windcast. Tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, not looking too bad. As we look ahead to your Sunday, we'll start to see those winds on Easter Sunday pick up at about 25 miles per hour. So we'll be in that breezy category. Then as you look ahead to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, have another storm coming in off the Pacific coast. Going to increase the winds, plus a cold front coming in here. Looks like by Tuesday is going to drop our temperatures. But the wind speeds right now, we're anticipating in that windy category, gusts to 35. But of course, as the weather changes, we may just tweak the forecast a bit for you, so we'll certainly let you know of any changes coming our way. Our latest Future Track computer model as we run the model into the overnight hours. We start off at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Some clouds mixing in with some sunshine. That'll be the trend throughout the day. Even at lunchtime, we'll see some of those high and mid-level clouds. I think Friday and Saturday, maybe a little bit more sunshine than what we have been seeing. Temperatures will be warming up into the 80s, but all in all, the weekend, the holiday weekend, not looking too bad. Here's your Saturday. 81 degrees, 56 as we start off Saturday morning. Then on Sunday, the winds pick up a little bit and a high temperature of right around 82 degrees. So 54 overnight tonight. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temperature for tomorrow will be right around 80. Las Cruces down to 51. Your high temp will make it into the upper 70s. And over the next 7 days, you can see how those temperatures will gradually warm up. Easter Sunday not looking too bad. Winds pick up Monday, Tuesday, but notice the colder temperatures behind the cold front. 74 Tuesday, down to 69 on Wednesday. Even a slight chance of rain, not great right now. We'll hold on to a 10% chance. Sports is next.
Welcome back, my friends. Good evening to you. I'm Paul Sikala. It is now official. New Mexico State is rejoining the Sun Belt Conference as a football-only member starting in 2014. The announcement at an official press conference on campus came down less than an hour ago. Idaho will join the Aggies in a similar role. Both New Mexico State and Idaho are members of the WAC, but were the only remaining football programs that didn't have a new conference as home for this fall.
This is a well-respected conference. And it has excellent members who share our commitment to excellence in the classroom.
You know, today, in some ways, we leave being a have-not in Division I competitive football to becoming a have.
We continue our in-depth coverage from New Mexico State live with the Aggies' new head football coach, Doug Martin. Thanks for coming on our show, Coach Martin. How relieved are you that with all of this conference realignment, New Mexico State was finally able to latch on?
Well, Paul, it's a big day for us, and it gives us an identity. It gives us an identity in recruiting the Sun Belt Conference, and obviously going to one of the stronger mid-major conferences is going to be quite a challenge for us.
What will it be like next year when, in essence, you're an independent, not playing for any conference title, while you wait to become part of that Sun Belt and go for a title, of course?
Well, we're excited about the schedule we have next year with 7 home games and having a Big Ten team come here and an ACC team come here in Minnesota and Boston College. So, you know, we've got plenty to play for next year. But this gives us something solid to recruit to in the future. It gives us something to shoot for in the future. And now we know, you know, where the bullseye is.
If you can, just talk about recruiting a little bit more and how by joining the Sun Belt Conference, how much more of a positive is it going to be for you when it comes to trying to draw in talent?
Yeah, Paul, I think it was really big. You know, we're really trying to make more of an emphasis in Texas to recruit. And the Sun Belt has a great brand in Texas, so this gives us an identity with those recruits. The conference is a great brand name there. People know of it. All those teams, Louisiana teams, have a lot of Texas kids on their rosters already, so this will only add to our recruiting emphasis.
All right, thanks again, once again, to Coach Martin. We definitely appreciate your time, head football coach, New Mexico State. And hey, we're looking forward to spring drills beginning on April 2nd. Hey, the Sun Belt will now be a 12-member football and basketball conference. Remember, the Aggies will continue hoops in the WAC. Full members will be Appalachian State, Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana Monroe, South Alabama, Texas State, Troy, and Western Kentucky. Meanwhile, New Mexico State and Idaho will be football-only members. Arkansas, Little Rock, and Texas Arlington will be full members in all sports except football. Moving on, Coach Marvin Menzies is saying he was on the campus of Texas Tech yesterday. However, he doesn't have interest in the head coaching position. He says the chancellor was picking his brain about the job and current candidates. However, Menzies is saying, as mentioned, he is happy at New Mexico State. Moving on, UTEP continued his series with Siena, with the doubleheader, Siena that is. In the first game, Ariel Armendari says ping, pang, pong. That ball is long gone, Capitan. The Miners win 11-1. UTEP took the second game at 5-4. Next up, East Carolina on Friday. And finally, with the soccer playoffs in full swing, let's relive what the playoffs are all about. Pure emotion. Here's Condor Theo beating Hanks again last night. Check it out. But
I was gonna say, wow, that's fast.
Hey, that was better than any of the highlight we saw in the USA-Mexico game yesterday. It seemed like
big
that
time,
0-0
no
one.
score, 0-0. This one had a shootout. But
A lot of outraged fans out there over not having a final score, or at least a true winner.
we want to see a few goals, and we didn't get that yesterday, unfortunately.
Dave?
All right, that 7-day forecast. Not bad over the next several days. I mean, temperature's going to be hanging out right around 80 degrees. Then we pick up the winds. Slight chance of rain, only at 10%. And notice some cooler temperatures coming behind a cold front. 74 Tuesday and then upper 60s on Wednesday.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Don't forget your newscast between newscasts, kvia.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you at 10.